Hello and welcome to another Kung Fu Panda video, and today I got to experience Kung Fu Panda 4 as an early screening. Yes, the movie is still coming out on the 22nd of March here in South Africa, and unfortunately it came out a week ago for the rest, well, for most of the world, so a lot of things have been spoiled since then. But for some reason the one mall here, it had like a showing today for some reason. I'm not complaining. So yeah, my friend and I got to check it out early, and yeah, it was meh. But that same friend and I got on a call for literally 1.5 hours, and we were talking about what we would have done as, you know, Kung Fu Panda 4, with the idea of bringing back, you know, previous villains and stuff. So basically, let's just start off with the Chameleon. And first of all, we couldn't really think of any name for her, so Master Chameleon. Basically, what the backstory we came up for the Chameleon is that she, much like Zhen in the movie, she was very poor. Okay, she lived in the Valley of Peace, and she became a master of Kung Fu, of course, Master Chameleon, but she ended up using her shape-shifting abilities to her own advantage. Obviously, since she's poor, she steals food and all that from other people, and eventually the other masters just were not happy with this, that she was using her abilities for her own benefit, and they basically, I want to say, excommunicated her. So while in the movie they would still refer to her as Master Chameleon, she's not technically a master of Kung Fu anymore. This way it gives her an actual, you know, it gives her some depth, because in the actual film she literally is just evil for the sake of being evil, and her motive is literally just, they didn't include me because I was small. That's literally all she is. At least this way, you know, she has a backstory at least. So yeah, that is that. And then of course, many years later, she is now living in like an underground cave. And of course, since she grew up there, she has spent years waiting to go to the Valley of Peace at the right moment. Master Chameleon, of course, knows that you need the Staff of Wisdom to, you know, create the portal to the spirit realm. So what she does is she enters the Valley of Peace now in present day as Master Shifu, and of course the power can only be granted if the person gives the staff to someone. And of course, no, realistically, Po is not going to give the Staff of Wisdom to anyone else but Master Shifu. The Chameleon will go in disguised as him, and when Po gives the staff to her, she will of course escape, going back to her hideout where she survives, where she brings back Tai Lung and Lord Shen. You may have noticed that of course I did leave out Kai, who, let's be honest, should not have been in Kung Fu Panda 4. This is something that pissed me off long before the movie came out, is that she can clearly bring characters back from the spirit realm. Kai literally died in the spirit realm. His spirit is no more. You cannot bring Kai back. So yes, it is in fact impossible to bring Kai back to life, which, yes, it does suck, but of course we are being logical here. Kai can't come back, which is why Tai Lung and Lord Shen are the priorities. But of course, she is greedy, and she also brings in an entire army of the other Kung Fu masters or villains that Po has defeated. Now of course, I know what you're thinking. Why would Tai Lung and Lord Shen work under the Chameleon? Well, it's simple. They all have something in common, and that is they would all love to watch Po fall. So united by this simple cause, they decide to go to the Valley of Peace. But that is just the villain side of things. Before the giant final battle, we of course need to talk about the heroes. The main differences that we made in terms of what we wanted from Kung Fu Panda 4 is, after watching the movie, we are not going to have, Po choose a successor, meaning that Zhen will not be in the script, but mainly we will be including the Furious Five, since obviously anyone with a brain will include the Furious Five in the film. So yes, Po will still advance to spiritual leader, and Shifu will advance to whatever role Master Oogway had. But basically, he doesn't need to choose a successor as the Dragon Warrior, since if you recall in the first movie, there was no Dragon Warrior, and then only after a while Master Oogway decided to choose one. There does not have to be a Dragon Warrior. So Po advancing to spiritual leader does not mean he needs to choose another Dragon Warrior. That is another issue that I had with Kung Fu Panda 4. But yes, we will of course have the Furious Five in the movie, who will of course have a little conflict with Po, mainly Tigress, blaming him for his irresponsibility and giving the staff to the chameleon. But of course it will all come together once the villains enter the Valley of Peace and the people begin to flee. The heroes know that they are outmatched, so of course to fight the chameleon's army of these previous villains, they have the Panda army. Yes, a very clear part taken from Kung Fu Panda 3. It was clearly established, especially at the end of the movie when we watched them all train, that they are a fully capable army who can take on Kung Fu masters, which just confused the hell out of me when I saw Kung Fu Panda 4's trailer, and they were like, it's us against an army. What are we going to do? Oh, how are we going to beat them? Why are we going to criminals, asking for their help when we literally have an army of pandas? It made zero sense. So this way, in the final battle, the chameleons, or Master Chameleon's army of undead Kung Fu villains, will be fighting Po's Panda army. Of course, seeing Shifu and Po work together so well and seeing how unstoppable they are, especially Po, will of course cause Tai Lung to have some self-doubt and cause him to turn against the chameleon. And once he starts showing this doubt and the chameleon is ready to kill him, Shifu will attack her, preventing Tai Lung from being harmed, only cementing his alliance with the good guys. Now, I think that this is just a much more believable way of Tai Lung being redeemed, as opposed to him just seeing Po fight, all of a sudden being like, perhaps Oogway was wrong about you. Instead, this way, it's actually, it ties into his story with Shifu and Po. So now we have the Furious Five, Li Shan, Po, and Tai Lung going against the chameleon and Lord Shen. Li Shan and the Furious Five will go for Shen, while Po and Tai Lung will of course go for the chameleon. Or should I say Master Chameleon. Li, of course, enraged by the death of his wife, knowing that Lord Shen was the one who did it, is just blinded by vengeance. He fights furiously, but he eventually learns to calm down and he begins to use his brain instead of just his fists. He now will stop attacking wildly and will use the training that he's learned from his son. With the chameleon constantly shape-shifting from master to master, Po and Tai Lung come to the conclusion that even together they cannot defeat her, at least not without the power of Qi. Po gives Tai Lung some of his Qi, and together they use the two dragons to open a massive gateway to the spirit realm, where Po does do that move that he was teaching Zhen, and the one that he used in the bar fight in Kung Fu Panda 4, where he uses a dragon to blow the opponents away. They then all fly back to the spirit realm, with the chameleon trying to grab onto the ground, but unfortunately the wind being too strong blowing her all the way back into the spirit realm. This is a death very reminiscent of Dr. Facilier from The Princess and the Frog, where he was literally dragged to hell, except here the chameleon is blown into the spirit realm. Tai Lung and Shifu, of course, make up, and Po and Tai Lung then go to the townspeople, and Po, of course, explains that Tai Lung is no longer a villain, and he actually helped them defeat Master Chameleon and her army. And this is the difference between this and the movie. Po decides to make Tai Lung the Dragon Warrior if Tai Lung chooses it. Of course, not falling into cliché, Tai Lung will accept this role, although now knowing what it truly means to be the Dragon Warrior, ending the movie off with Po being the spiritual leader of the Valley of Peace, the Furious Five, and now we have the new Dragon Warrior, Tai Lung. This, I think, was the perfect conclusion to the franchise, and, you know, give as many criticisms as you would like in the comment section below, but to me, with a script like this, or, well, let's be honest, a general story like this, I think that this movie could be the only one to rival Kung Fu Panda 2. Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, but yeah, if you did enjoy this video, please leave a like, subscribe, and goodbye.